If your idea of off-road riding is busting big air over triple jumps, the Freeride will disappoint. But KTM's electric-powered off-roader broadens the scope of what's possible in a dirt bike built to quietly conquer trails of fun. As a longtime devotee of performance, I was a rider who aspired to badass motocross bikes and ripping up racetracks. That is until I shattered my ankle on a 450 at Glen Helen, suffering through 4 surgeries and threats of amputation. Since then I rarely ride off-road for fear of re-injury or developing new ones, and it's a riding activity I dearly miss. And that's why I was grinning like a child in my helmet when riding the Freeride on the hilly trails around the Wildomar OHV area in Southern California, and doing it in near silence. It rekindled the pure element of fun that is the whole reason most of us started riding motorbikes in the first place. It's fast enough to thrill, capable enough to tackle gnarly terrain, and manageable enough to make even an old dude feel fully in control. Even a salty off-road veteran like our cohort at dirtbikes.com, Scott Russo, pictured in the lead photo, had a blast riding it. The EXC is basically a Freeride 250R with its 2-stroke engine replaced by an electric motor and swappable battery. It's been available in Europe for a couple of years in 3 versions: Motocross, ESX, Supermoto, ESM, and Enduro, EXC, the latter 2 being street legal. North America is now getting the XC version, but it's not officially legal for use on our roads. All electric vehicles suffer potential penalties of weight, range, and price. The EXC balances the range/weight aspects by fitting a relatively low-capacity battery pack with just 2.6 kWh of capacity. For comparison, consider the smallest battery in a zero motorcycle, FXSCF 3.3, has a 2.9 kWh nominal capacity and stretches up to as much as 14.3 kWh, DSR with power tank. The self-contained KTM pack is filled with 360 lithium-ion cells from Samsung, and it can easily be swapped in about a minute. The downside is that an extra bat pack, which weighs about 50 pounds, will cost an extra $3,600. KTM says the Freeride's battery can yield up to 1 hour of off-road riding time, depending on terrain and a rider's exuberance. Holding it pinned across a prairie would quickly sap its juice, while picking your way through tight trails would enable much greater run time. KTM says it can reach an 80% charge from dead in 50 minutes, from drained to 100% requires 80 minutes. Complicating matters is that the charger requires a 220-volt power supply. This is easy enough to set up at your home, which an electrician will charge about $300, but it means that most petrol-powered generators won't charge the battery, severely limiting riding options when out riding somewhere off the grid. The Freeride loves unraveling twisty trails, using its steep 23-degree rake angle and moderate 238 pounds weight to deftly navigate even ultra-tricky areas. It feels almost like a 125 cubic centimeters 2-stroke and is nicely balanced like we expect from a KTM dirt bike. The seat is placed a not inconsiderable 35.8 inches from the ground, but it's a full 2 inches lower than a traditional enduro like KTM's 250 EXC. The narrow seat and slim midsection helps disguise its tall nature. It's basically a trials bike with a seat, KTM's Tom Moen succinctly stated at the launch. Powering the Freeride is a brushless permanent magnet motor that utilizes 2 tiny radiators to shed excessive heat. The motor is remarkably small, and it uses a geared primary drive to a countershaft sprocket, which KTM says its testing proved is a more durable arrangement when pounding over bumps than power taken directly from the motor. Peak output is rated at 21.5 HP, 16 kilowatts. More impressive is the torque, which is said to be 31 lb-ft, a figure that dwarfs a 250 cubic centimeters 4-stroke engine, less than 20 lb-ft at the tire. 3 engine modes are available. The economy setting is basically for beginners and for maximizing range. Full power is available in enduro and cross modes, with the latter coming on sooner and being especially snappy. Enduro mode was plenty on the tight and sandy Wildomar trails, with enough grunt to loft the front end over rocks and tree roots when desired, even without fanning the clutch, which there is none. And, surprisingly, I never missed having one. Brakes and suspension components are borrowed from KTM's 85SX model, but don't let that make you think they aren't up to the task of supporting the Freeride. The suspension has beefier springs to support the full-size Freeride, with a 43mm WP fork that boasts compression and rebound damping adjustments, while the linkageless WP shock adds separate high and low-speed compression damping adjustability. They do a fine job of sucking up trail-size bumps but would be overwhelmed on a motocross track.